I feel like every time a mom says, "Oh my gosh, me too," or "same," it heals you a little bit. It lessens the shame and guilt significantly, and so many of us carry that daily.
Welcome to the Sparkle Project. I'm Emily, a divorced mom of two on my own journey to shine a little brighter. This podcast is here to help you protect your sparkle amidst the chaos and impossible expectations of modern motherhood. If you're a mom ready to choose yourself and shine, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to the Sparkle Project. I am so excited for today's episode. I have a mom friend here today. We are going to be talking about the sense of validation we get when we are in community with other moms and how important it is to be in community with other moms so that we can feel like we're not just failing through this whole thing. Joining me is my friend Dana James, a self-proclaimed mom's mom and the voice behind Mother Mentality. You can find her on all social media. If you're not following her already, you should be. Her content is the ultimate validation of just the experience of being a mom in today's world. She is also a contributor to the Mom Friends Collective, which if you have not checked out the work we're doing over there, please do. We're on Instagram at Mom Friends Collective, and you can find us at momfriendscollective.com. So that's just a little shout out to that because we're doing a lot of work in service of bringing communities of moms together. So, Dana, welcome to the podcast. Can you go ahead and just share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes. Okay. I'm honestly still figuring it out as I go here. I'm a mom of two girls. I work as a nurse. I work in peri-anesthesia. I get patients ready for surgery before and after. And I'm currently back in school. I'm getting my doctorate degree in psychiatric mental health. And so, fun fact about me, I was raised in the South by non-Southern parents. And so you can imagine that my sense of belonging and the need for validation felt a little off, like from the start. I did meet my husband, though, living there, and we weren't high school sweethearts, but I did know him in high school. And so he joined the military. I went to college 4 years later. We were married in 2012. And so I joined this military life, and we moved all over the country. We welcomed our first daughter in 2018 and my rainbow baby girl in 2023. So that's just like my beginning. So that's brought me here today.
Yeah. So you describe yourself as a mom's mom. Can you just tell me what that means to you and how does that shape the space that you're creating online for moms?
So being a mom's mom is like being a girl's girl. It just means being a supporter first, someone who truly values and honors a mother's role, both in society and within the home. That perspective shapes the space I feel like I'm creating online, just centering our inherent worth. It's something that I feel like I needed in early motherhood, just like unconditional care, those reminders, just someone saying you're doing a good job. And so I feel like being a mom's mom means that you are offering that up without expectations and just being a place where you're feeling seen and supported always.
Yeah. I love that you bring attention to the fact too. It's like the role in society and in the home because that's two different pieces of what it means to be a mom, right? And I think it's
Exactly.
important to acknowledge that we are kind of fed this idea of what it means to be a mom, both by society and what our roles are supposed to be like in the home. And so I love that you do kind of take that all into consideration in what you're putting out into the world. Can you share a little bit about your early postpartum seasons and what those were like for you and how that maybe has informed what you're doing now?
Yeah. So I had like night and day experiences with both of my girls. We were stationed in California at the time when I had my first daughter. California has a lot of support. I think I almost had like 6 months of paid leave, working mom or whatever. That allowed me the space to heal and bond with my child and adjust a little bit. I definitely had some postpartum anxiety looking back on that experience, but I felt like because I had this extended amount of time, I was able to navigate that and feel supported externally and then inside the home. My husband was home and family was more readily available there. With my second daughter, we were stationed in Virginia, and that was 6 to 8 weeks. I had a lot of external factors that compounded the mental load of delivery and the postpartum care that I received. I had a traumatic birth kind of with both of them, but the second one was like way out, way crazy.
Yeah.
My husband was away with the military. Our entire life was just in transition. And so not only was I dealing with that, I had this newborn, I was rehospitalized for postpartum preeclampsia. So just what felt manageable at the time became like completely overwhelming that second go around. And I was worried about going back to work. So going through that, the field that I work in, I had a relationship with a lot of the OBGYNs. And so when I went to my check-in, I had the foresight to like talk to her about it. And so she gave me an extension. But for so many moms, I know that that is not the case.
Yeah.
So just like feeling so much more isolated at that time, it really just shaped how my postpartum experience was. And knowing that it had really nothing to do with my individual capacity, it was like all of these societal things that kind of played into that made it much heavier for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think about how in that situation, like you'd already had one experience that was very different, even if there were like, you know, complications and it's postpartum, like it's challenging. But to have that as something you experienced and then have this completely different experience the second go around with support with your actual like physical health and what you needed, and being able to have the language to advocate for yourself and having the like relationships with people to advocate for yourself, knowing that like a lot of moms first of all may not have an experience where things were better, so it's like you're just having your first kid and holy shit, like what is going on right now? And then
Right.
if you don't have the language or knowledge to know what you can and should be asking for, like the support isn't
Right.
just built in, which is scary. Like
Yeah.
it's important that we're talking about these things because like we need to know what can happen and what we may need to advocate for, because that's the reality of the situation. Is a lot of getting support is advocating for yourself.
Right. And because we don't know, or we feel like we should be feeling a certain type of way, or that, well, no, I think I'm just having postpartum blues or something like that, it's really hard to advocate and speak up. And then having healthcare providers actually understand and prioritize that. I mean, I don't even know if it's standard for offices like OBGYN offices to ask that depression scale. But if it is, like, does it flag them? How do they look, and what do they do? The intervention. You know, again, I was lucky, and I would hope and assume that the provider that I was with, that office, would do it for all moms.
Yeah.
But I think back and think about like that extra layer of like knowing that like, no, I'm not okay, and kind of speaking up about that, obviously like put that in their heads versus like it should just be standard.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say that with my second, I was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety, but part of it is it came on like a few weeks after the birth. And so like you do like the screening right after, and I was fine right after. But I also don't know that like I would have been flagged on the screening because of just specifically what I was dealing with wasn't like necessarily postpartum depression in the way that you would see on a screening. And so it did
Exactly. Yeah.
require me, like, I remember sitting on my couch and being like, I need to call because I need to deal with this. And I was having just like the worst like feelings of impending doom and was like not well. But if I
Right.
didn't take the steps to actually like call, and I mean, I'll just say also part of what like allowed me to feel like, wait, this isn't normal and there's something wrong and I can do something about this, was because I had seen people talking about postpartum anxiety on social media. Just to like
Yes.
bring it
Yeah.
full circle, it's like the sharing your experience matters because someone might see it and be like, oh my God, I passed the screening for postpartum depression, but this isn't normal what I'm experiencing right now.
Right. Yeah. So many. It just like the Swiss cheese of like how it can really like fall. We can fall through the cracks, and we often
Yeah.
do. And that
Yes.
is, yeah, such a like huge testament to how this is still going on. Like it's better in some ways, and we still need to be here and like keep talking about it.
Yeah. 100%. Why did you start sharing your story and motherhood experience publicly? Like, what was the kind of catalyst for that?
So those postpartum experiences really became the catalyst for a lot of my passions and desires. 2020, I feel like a lot of people can say that was a reckoning of epic proportions for so many people and for so many reasons. And for me, my growth and inner healing really started then. I had already had, my daughter was like 2-ish then, and then 2023. So just having that postpartum experience with my second and finally coming out of that fog, I felt like I was more myself, but also someone that was stronger, braver, started like knowing my worth fully.
Yeah.
And then going back into school was like, oh, well, I feel like I want to share this experience because motherhood is what was kind of almost my demise in a way, but it was
Yeah.
really a trajectory for the positive change that I've had. And I wanted to share that with other people. And so it kind of started off like, well, maybe I'm just going to share my school journey. But motherhood, as we know, is just not one thing. So it
Yeah.
just ended up kind of being like, well, no, I'm going to just do it all
Yeah.
here.
It's almost like it's
Yeah.
the lens with which you like move through the world. It's like you are a mother. And so it's like, yes, it's not all about being a mom, but it's about the
Mm-hmm.
fact that in everything that you do, you are a
They
mom.
are.
You're showing up to the
Mm-hmm.
world as somebody with this love and responsibility and societal pressure and all the things that come with being a mom.
Yes. And I just wanted to show them what was possible for them. And then also, like, I don't want another mom to ever feel not, I can't help everyone, but like
Yeah.
just that mindset of like, if I could just help one other mom
Yeah.
feel less alone, then I'm doing some good work.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for sure. Like as somebody who has been that mom who's seen somebody post something and it's made a massive difference in the trajectory of my life, it's like it does matter.
Yeah.
Your content is really rooted in this idea of like validation over judgment, which we know in motherhood spaces, judgment and mom shaming like tend to be very real things that exist just because of all that societal noise. Why do you
Mm.
think that it's so important for moms right now to have that sense of validation in what they're seeing online and in their communities?
I feel like every time a mom says, oh my gosh, me too, or same, it heals you a little bit. Like it just heals me a little bit. It lessens the shame and guilt significantly. And so many of us carry that daily. In our interactions with our children, it's just kind of like a knee jerk, right? Sensation. I don't know if that's how it is for
Yeah.
you, but I always just like the first things that always come to mind when I feel like I've messed up are shame and guilt. And there's just so much pressure for us to fit motherhood into a box, to do one thing, to do it one way, and then not only to do all of that, but to do it very well and not complain about it pretty much ever.
Yeah. Yep.
So I feel like having that constant validation is pushing back on the idea that changes how we see each other and that shifts any comparison that we might have and what we're seeing online to like more connection. So,
Yeah. That idea of the connection instead of the comparison is really interesting thinking about how it's almost like if we can compare ourselves in the way of like we're experiencing something similar, we can see ourselves in someone else. It's like it offers a different level of connection. Like, I mean, we're humans, we need connection. And I think the reality
so
is so
much.
many moms are totally isolated and totally alone, whether that's like due to circumstances. I mean, you shared in your
Mm-hmm.
experience, like moving around as a family in a way that's like kind of out of your control. There's going to be isolation that comes with that, right? Like you have to really intentionally build community. But I think that extends to so many moms. Like
Yeah.
that isolation is very real, whether you have people surrounding you or not.
Yeah. I think that validation, like, it becomes this bridge, this very powerful bridge, and it just allows us to kind of soften a little bit towards
Yeah.
one another. And we're building empathy, which is so important. All the tension and
Yeah.
division here, we need a lot more empathy and just like reminders that we belong, like that we belong not only just in this, society, but just that together. Like, it's so important for this village that in the modern era that we're trying to build, that mom's experiences are making sense, that they're not happening alone. And
Yeah.
so it's just important to like have that powerful connector. And I think validation is the thing that does that.
Yeah. So you also bring a lot of humor into your content. You're funny. Like
I try.
I'll be like watching your stuff and laughing. I'm like, you're funny. I wish I was that funny. How has humor like helped you talk about things that are actually really heavy and relate to other moms?
Yeah. The trauma made me funny trope is just how I exist in this world. But like, I mean, we know that there's real power in laughter. I
Yeah.
mean, when you laugh or smile, your brain and your body go through this shift.
Yeah.
Um, your stress hormones decrease, your feel good chemicals increase. It allows some of that healing to happen, even if we're talking about something heavy. I don't know, but I feel like dark humor kind of resonates a little bit more
Yeah.
these days too. And we just don't always, I don't know, sometimes we just don't always need that tone to match the seriousness of a topic, because I think that I can reach more people when I like lessen the load and like kind of lighten it up a little bit, not to negate the heaviness, but to make it more bearable. And that's
Yeah.
why I feel like just enjoying it, but having fun, but also saying, even if it's like in my caption, like if I'm saying something kind of funny in the video, it's like, but no, I'm still, let's actually talk about this,
Yeah.
a little bit more deeply. So that I just feel like it just helps bring a little bit more lightness to the topic, especially when everything feels so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like almost like providing a different entry point for like I mean, I feel like probably anyone listening right now might feel like we're just collapsing under the weight of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like true in motherhood in general, like thinking about those societal expectations and pressures. It's like you could be collapsing under the weight of every of the expectations just in general, but right now the world is particularly heavy, and not just like it's heavy, but when you get online, you're seeing things that are scary and
Mm-hmm.
fear inducing and upsetting. And so, like, offering that entry point for somebody into something that is serious and we should be talking about these experiences we have as moms, but doing it
Mm-hmm.
in a way where it feels more approachable and it feels like something that's adding something positive to your life rather than more doom and gloom, which I think it can be really easy to get into when you are talking about the realities and the hard experiences and the joys and the beauties. But, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes. And I mean, I created this space, and I kind of have this in like some of my earlier messaging. I said I wanted to be the antidote to the doom scroll,
hmm
because we need breaks. We're allowed them. And if sometimes it feels like, and I've been saying this more recently, like I'm not turning away from the horrors, but
hmm
sometimes I have to blink because I have to mother. I have to blink. I have to not quite turn away, but I just have to, for a second,
yeah,
do this thing. And this is really such important work. And I think most of us can agree that simply raising humans to be kind and compassionate and empathetic and, all of the good things that we all want to do, that just helps lessen the load. And I think laughing through some of these painful things just opens the door a little bit so I can reach common ground lower defenses, and just like allow conversations about hard things to feel like a little bit more human, like just a little bit more bearable if I can.
Yeah.
For me
Yeah.
too, because I need it. It consumes me because most of us are very deeply feeling people. I think that we connect on that, and it's just, so I just need a little bit of light, laugh, an LOL, but really like, okay, no, but really, like, this is funny, but the little tear emoji, that's like my go-to emoji for some things. It's just, yeah, just kind of help people like not feel so consumed by the dark, heavy stuff.
Yeah. Like that's such an important point that like we do have to keep showing up for our kids. Like that's not really an option. Like we have to keep showing up for them, and we'd like to do that in a space of like having decent mental health, right? Like being able to show up with presence and patience, which obviously is not always possible,
Yeah.
but like it's really easy when you're just consuming all the darkness, all the heaviness to not be able to do that. So we do have to find that balance of like don't turn away, but also it can't all be that. Like we can't keep showing up and doing this crucially important job of raising the next generation if we're like stuck in the muck.
Non-functional.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
like
which
I like really could be
yes.
so debilitating
Yes.
to see that. And the algorithm, once you get in that, it just like is like the first thing. And so yes, if I can just break a little bit with like a little bit of lightness, that's how I feel like I could just give us a little bit of reprieve so that we can continue doing the work of making these changes in our lives, in our homes, and hopefully in the world.
Yeah. Oh, like yes. So you emphasize community over individuality. Why do you see that mattering so much when it comes to motherhood and mental health, the mental health component of motherhood?
I feel like right now in the world today that we are so deeply pressed into individualism
Yeah.
that we forget that community is actually what gets us through things. Mental health struggles are inherently isolating, and motherhood can quickly become isolating and feel that way. So when you combine the two, we're just like ripe with a sense of aloneness and just like feeling like you're just doing it by yourself and that you're expected to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about villages, maybe that our parents or maybe our grandparents have these villages, and just like this is just not how it is. We're a lot more spread out typically. So I think that kind of that loss of like a in-person kind of community or village isn't quite there.
Yeah.
So that means that we have to be more intentional about building community in new ways. And so we were never meant to do this alone, even though the message is often that we should be able to. So I think like mental health, it always improves through connection. Like, of course, medications and, dealing with that on an individual level is important. But like, if you don't have that piece where you feel like I have a sense of belonging, a sense of worth, a sense of value, and moms kind of fall into that sometimes. I feel like it just goes hand in hand.
Yeah, well, even like kind of going back to like my experience and seeing other moms talking about postpartum anxiety, even like you said the medication piece and like, things with like there's different things that impact mental health, and there's the kind of more environmental factors and then maybe biological factors and things like that. But even like in knowing, having language to advocate for yourself for those more biological factors, like the community, the environmental piece of that can help with the support in that. Like that community is really important in all of it. And then setting the foundation for just like being supported. I mean, I think about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs sometimes, of like, we all need belonging, right? Like that's
Yes.
a need we have as humans. It's like, it is a non-negotiable. And that's such an interesting, like mental health can be isolating. Having mental health struggles can be isolating. Motherhood can be isolating. It's really easy to get caught in a pattern of complete isolation, completely feeling like you're alone, not having people to reach out to when you're struggling, the guilt and shame that eats you alive with that. Like,
Yes, exactly. It's just like the spiral of it. And then how do we lift each other, or how do we just prevent it in a way? Just like, let's get ahead of this, because this is such an easy kind of thing that we fall into as moms, as at any point in motherhood. But I feel like that happens more so once babies are newer.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, it definitely is
It's like
like a
higher risk. Yeah.
yes, there's like a lot of things happening at once
Yeah.
in that period. It's like
Yeah.
there can be a lot of things along the way that impact
Hmm.
you, but like there's a lot that happens postpartum.
Yeah.
A lot.
So much changes. They did not tell me. Did not warn me
Yeah.
about that. I was told there would be glowing. There's no glowing, except I'm
Just,
red in the
just
face.
sweaty glow and
Yes, just yeah, hot,
yeah.
overheated, and feeling gross.
Oh goodness,
Yeah.
it's an experience. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like having lived through really challenging postpartum mental health experiences and then now pursuing work in psychiatric care, how has your personal experience shaped your understanding of perinatal mood and anxiety disorders and maybe even informed the work you're doing going forward?
Yeah. I mean, really, how it shaped it was just realizing how common it is. That was the biggest thing for me. Before, I feel like subconsciously I viewed it as something that happened to other
Yeah.
people, and then it looked a certain way. But it is very and almost scarily subtle how you can struggle. And we've talked about this, like, there's just like no language to support or name what we're experiencing. And so that experience obviously gave me a deeper understanding of how layered this condition is. And it's never been about a reflection about how much you love your baby, how capable you are. It's influenced by literally so much more external factors than it is your own body and your own capacity. It's always more so about the environment that we understand ourselves to be in and just kind of that outside support.
Yeah. It's cool that you are able to take that experience and like personal understanding into the healthcare setting. Like, I imagine the impact that you can have as somebody who has lived experience and like I guess to the like you're building community where it's not only your lived experience that you've taken in but also like the lived experiences of real moms out in the world. Like the understanding that you bring into the clinical space is very rich.
Yes, I'm hoping that it's going to allow me to have always more compassion for
Yeah.
moms and just like not writing it off. Nothing is ever textbook perfect, especially when it comes to mental health. You can really show up in different ways and still be affected by it. So I think that just it's going to shape how I listen and show up in the clinical practice. I've got a while, but I know it's already shaping me now.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
know that it's going to be where I need to be.
Yeah. What do you think society still gets the most wrong about postpartum mental health and maternal well-being?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's like purely hormonal. Like
Yeah.
once your hormones balance out, like you're gonna just like be back to normal. You'll just be like this happy-go-lucky girly, and it's just not the case. I mean, motherhood literally changes your brain, and there's just no going back to this like pre-baby person. So like, how do we accept that and know that it's so much more than your hormones? I mean, and then the other thing I feel like society gets wrong or doesn't do is just we're completely undervalued in that field. Being a mom and your mental well-being shapes the household. When we prioritize maternal mental health, it's not just good for mothers, it's foundational to healthy families and communities. I mean, studies have shown. We can put the references if we need to, but it's when we feel supported and we're thriving, the family will thrive. It really is as simple as that. And I think
Yeah.
that society just completely undervalues that. And so therefore we're like constantly fighting to like be seen and heard.
We are raising the next generation too. So it's like, yes, it's the home, but it's also like, what does that mean for society? Like, there's also benefit back to society in that way of like,
Yes,
like
we
it
are
really,
the ultimate return on investment.
yes.
Like,
It is really kind of wild to think about how devalued mothers are. And it's like, really, like, the world doesn't care. Like, our systems weren't built for us to thrive in. And the way maternal mental health is handled, it's just like, yeah, we're getting better, but like, there's a long way to go in adequate support. But if you think about it in that way of like, okay, like, yes, I fully believe and think we all should that moms are worthy of care just because, like, as an individual, they're worthy of care. We're all worthy of care. But, like,
Yes.
throw that out the window for a second. Like, also, it makes a
Right.
huge difference for the kids that we all say we care about. And it makes a huge difference for, like, how those kids will grow up in the world and be productive members of society and, like, all of that. It's like, even if we ignore the fact that we're just worthy of it as moms, it should really
Yeah.
matter to everyone. And it doesn't.
I know it doesn't, it definitely doesn't. And like when we reduce it to hormones alone,
Yeah.
we ultimately minimize really the complexity of what mothers are actually experiencing in our own bodies, in our own like, and so it's really like we said, return on investment. You just got to like we have to change how we think about motherhood and how important it is, how we're raising these kids to really just thrive and also try to thrive ourselves
Yeah.
because we deserve to thrive.
Totally. So, one of the things that a lot of moms experience is this like sense of losing themselves in motherhood and in the pursuit of being a good mom. What has it looked like for you to reclaim parts of yourself alongside motherhood, alongside that role of being a mom?
Yeah, I feel like putting myself online has actually been such a huge reclamation of like who I am. And maybe someone that I've always been,
Yeah.
but didn't understand fully or didn't feel like I was allowed to be. And so creating and sharing in this space has helped me kind of reconnect with parts of myself that existed before motherhood, but just helped remind me that becoming a mom didn't mean that I needed to have any of those parts of me disappear. It
Yeah.
just is almost more of like a supplement. So like I think being a good mom for me has meant finding things that I enjoy doing that happen to benefit my children, but would still add value and joy to my life if I were a mom. Like
Yeah.
baking, I know baking kind of seems, I don't know, baking is a good example. A lot of us do it, or, maybe you don't. But for me, baking is something I like to do. It's creative, it's a little therapeutic for me, and I love to do it for them. But it's something that I would still do. Going back to school, that's been the biggest one
Yeah.
because I actually went to nurse practitioner school before I got pregnant with my first.
Oh,
And
okay.
when I got pregnant with her, I had already been in a space where I wasn't feeling good enough. I was really anxious, feeling not smart enough. And so motherhood became an excuse that like a way out of doing that. And then now I realize motherhood is the reason that I can. And so it's like this career path adds value to my children's lives and my life. I'm hoping to build something sustainable. But even beyond that, this work in mental health is so deeply needed. And it's something that aligns with who I've always been at my core. But motherhood helped me get there to that mindset.
Yeah, I got like massive chills and like tears in my eyes when you said that because I feel like that idea of like motherhood feeling like the thing that can hold us back, whether that is like because it legitimately like the logistics of like having a child and trying to work, and then sometimes it's just like the best option for the family, or it appears to be
Mm-hmm.
the best option for the family for mom to stay home and leave the career behind, or maybe it is really the
Right.
best option, or
Yeah.
like there, there's lots of components to it. Or it can be something that is like almost an excuse. Like, and I think the way you said that is so powerful. It's not that it was like an excuse, like you're like, oh, I'm just going to be a mom now. But it's like if you were dealing with like self questioning and things like that, it's like, well, I don't have to deal with that now because I have my kids and maybe this
Mm-hmm.
isn't the time for it and whatever. And it sounds like that's a good thing because now you're going back with like this new purpose. And I think that idea of like motherhood actually like being the thing that like lit that fire for you, doing it for your
Yeah.
kids, but also doing it with like this new like mission and purpose in life of like, this stuff matters. I've had these experiences. Like,
Hmm.
it's just a really beautiful showing of how complex our roles as moms can be when it comes to like how it ties into the rest of our life, and how there's no shame in it impacting you
Right.
in
It
all the
just is
ways.
intertwined. It intertwines in such a beautiful way that if you allow it to shape you, even if your experiences might have been heavier, or maybe you're going through a heavy period, knowing that that purpose, whether it's the purpose of being at home with your kids, the purpose of doing a different career path, or anything that motherhood allows for you, I think that it's just like leaning into that and knowing that that means you are choosing yourself.
Yeah.
But they both belong for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. It's like if you're making a choice from a place of like what is actually best for you and what is like deeply ingrained in your values, it's like it doesn't actually matter what choice you make in support of you and your family.
Yeah.
But it's almost like that connection piece to self and like to what is the best, like what do I want is so important. So the kind of last piece I want to talk about here is this idea of working moms and stay-at-home moms living different lives and being kind of, I would almost say, like pitted against each other in the way we talk about identity and motherhood as a
Hmm.
society. Obviously, like as a working mom, you have experiences and you work out of the home, and they're different than my experiences as someone who is currently working inside of the home. And it's different than the experiences of a mom who is like, her work is the caretaking of her children. I'm curious your thoughts on all of that, and if there's anything you wish that moms maybe understood about each other so that there's not so much tension in those identities.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with the working mom, stay at home mom kind of divide, and just understanding that, yes, we're navigating maybe different challenges day to day, but the emotional load that we have is very similar. We're both managing mental labor, identity shifts, and just like most of the time, we all can agree that we have this feeling of not doing enough in some area of our life. And so while our environments do look different, the weight of everything can feel the same. And so, what I wish moms understood is that we are all doing the best we can with the options available to us. And it's not always the options that we were promised, not always the ones that we thought that we would have, and options that are available to us. But I think when we stop kind of judging each other and like judging the container that we mother in and honor the effort, we create this space of empathy instead of division. And that's where we can actually be in community with one another. And it just makes it, we're just not competing with one another. We're just not. And that there's space for both roles and the way that we go about our day to day.
Yeah, I think that is very well said. Beautiful. For the mom listening who feels like she is failing or she's behind in some way or she is not enough, what do you want to leave her with today?
This one always gets me because when I say this out loud, it is also speaking to myself. But I want that mom to know that she is in the right place at the right time, and there are no coincidences. Whether she thinks that's like alignment or faith or something greater, like the fact that she's hearing this right now and she's listening to my voice, it does matter. And the feeling of not enough is the biggest lie. It's born from the isolation and the impossible standards that are set on us. So I feel like feeling behind doesn't mean that you actually are, and kind of struggling with something doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. You are already enough exactly as you are in this moment right now. If you didn't do anything else, it's enough. And you are not alone. There's space for you here.
I'm like, I'm taking that. I'm just
Yes.
gonna like soak in that for a bit.
Yes.
Before we wrap up, on this show, we talk about the sparkle. It's the underlying sense of who you are, what lights you up, what makes you you. How do you protect your sparkle?
Quiet time. Any sort of moment without any demands. Reading is a big one for me. The
Hmm.
most unserious romance novels ever. But creativity, girl time is actually like fills up my cup like nothing else.
Yeah.
So just spending time in community with other women who get it and let me be me fully, that matters. And then protecting my sparkle means kid-free time. It really does. I mean, I love them deeply, and we all say this. I love them deeply, but stepping away from that role as much as I can, because you never stop being a mom. But
Yeah.
just it helps me be a better mom when I can kind of do my own thing, for sure.
Relate to that. For anyone listening, if you are somebody who likes to read and be in community with other moms as a part of like protecting your sparkle, I just want to quickly shout out that Dana's book club is available to join, and it is so exciting. I will be there reading with you. I'm hoping that it's going to be something that gets me reading more, because I am somebody who loves reading fiction, and I like don't do it near as much as I should be based on how much joy and escape it brings me.
Oh my gosh, the escape is really great. And audiobooks for the busy mom is unmatched. I used to be like so anti-audiobook, and no, I'm like foot and mouth moment, because that's all I pretty much do if I can, because it allows me to like cook and clean, and a little bit of like when the kids are screaming, like put in my earbuds and listen to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the male characters that are in my books. But it's the Busy Moms Book Club. And so trying to not add pressure to ourselves, but just allow another opportunity for engagement and community within motherhood, and just have fun. It's just straight fun. That's nothing else.
I love that. And I'm going to make sure like all the links to all of this are below in the show notes, because like really good stuff.
Yes, I'm excited.
Dana, thank you so much for being here and for having this conversation. This like has lit something up in me, having this conversation with you. Where can listeners find you? They really should be following you. I mean, I'm going to say that there's not a lot of shoulds, but this is one.
My main place right now is Instagram, Mother Mentality. TikTok is Mother Mentality _ but I'm sharing those day-to-day thoughts, humor, conversations around motherhood, all the topics.
Amazing. Dana, thank you so much. Again, like this is amazing. You are doing incredible work. You are like, I mean, your stuff validates my experiences all the time. It's so great to just have those people on my feed that like make me feel good in the day-to-day about what I'm experiencing. And so I so appreciate you, and I so appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I feel truly honored to be part of the Mom Friends Collective, and honored to like do this podcast. This is so exciting for me. Thank you for having me.
Oh, and thank you for tuning in. Keep on shining. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Sparkle Project. Loved what you heard? Share this episode with a friend, and don't forget to leave a rating and review to show your support for the show. We'll be back next week with another episode. See you then.